missing someone.
Ready? Two.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Sisters in Christ.
That was too much.
So today we have a special guest here. We have Christian from Arms of the Father. Today we're going to be talking with Christian about what it is like being a young Christian or a young Catholic.
Young
Christian. The topic that we're going to be talking about too is evangelization in that for that age group. So
Yes.
Christian, do you want to?
So Christian, what's it like being a young Christian Catholic?
Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself or about Arms?
Okay, my name is Christian Capello. Arms are a part of your body. They're pretty. You can like do different. You can hug with them. Okay, so my YouTube channel / Instagram is called Arms of the Father. The Arms of the Father. Who is in the Arms of the Father? Well, I get it from the prodigal son. So like the son, he goes away, he sins, he spends his father's money. He comes back, he's like, I'm no longer worthy to be called your son. And the father runs to him and he hugs him. And that's like what it means to be in the arms of the Father, is to turn away from sin and turn back to the Father, our Heavenly Father who is God. And ultimately, the person who's in the arms of the Father is Jesus when he gives his life on the cross. And like that's my logo. It's like God hugging the cross, the arms of the Father. And if we kind of cling onto the cross, then the Father's arms will like wrap around us and he's going to get us through anything. So that's kind of like my mission, is to like spread that message and really just post Catholic videos that are weird and funny.
I love your videos so much.
Yes.
We're always the first to watch when you post.
That's true. You guys
We had a stream event of your Bible video. We all watched
We
it
all
on
watched
FaceTime
it together.
We were so excited.
I'm so
Guys, check
excited.
that video out right here.
Okay.
We're reading the Bible
Wait,
in
wait,
one
which way
day.
will it be? Hold on, wait. I can put it in a card up here.
Or
Oh yeah.
Check the card.
So I'm really
card.
excited that you guys have started a YouTube channel. I assume this video's on there. So
Yeah.
good job if you found this. Subscribe if you did. So
Subscribe.
you don't want to miss anything else.
Oh, we had a few ideas with this subject, and one of the things we wanted to talk about was specifically evangelizing with our friends at public school, because all of us have gone to public school.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's a very different
Atmosphere.
atmosphere than going to a Catholic school or like a private Christian school, whatever. Yes.
Yeah, first, so Christian, if you want to share a little bit about like at least like what was your faith life like in high school? Like what were you thinking of? What did you share with your friends at school versus like what did you more keep close to your heart, close to yourself?
Well, I shared some good times with my friends at school, some good memories. Yeah, I went to public school my whole life, but now I go to Franciscan University, Catholic college. With hopefully all these people. So yeah, public school, definitely a lot different than being homeschooled or private school. Sometimes I wish I was, but in the end, it's like it all worked out. So public school, you know, I had a couple good Catholic friends, but mostly everyone was very secular. So I was on like the volleyball team, the tennis team, and the culture was kind of just like kind of toxic, you know. It's kind of like all about yourself, like who's gonna be in the lineup, and then like the way people treat each other just isn't great. But through having like just an amazing Catholic family and like my cousins and Life Teen, that's where I kind of like my cousins and family camp. That's where I found myself in public school with like these kind of secular people, but I drew from like the wells of my family and my church community, and then I was able to go into school and kind of live like in it but not of it. I think you said that.
Yes.
So it does work if you have a good foundation at home, and you just have to have a couple like good Catholic friends, and then a lot of really good conversations I had in public school, which I wouldn't have had the opportunity if I was homeschooled or maybe even private schooled. So
Yeah, and I think that's true, is that like you and I, and you guys too, we all have like such a very strong Catholic foundation from birth and from baptism. Like we were born and raised Catholic, and I know that a lot of people don't have that. And so what I did when I was in high school was I had a very good friend group, and I was very lucky to have a good friend group that like accepted me and everything. There's water on the table. Okay. But what I found myself doing was having like weird, just random conversations in gym class about topics like where I got my faith from and like abortion, and like they got deep, and a lot of it was with like my friends that, you know, usually we wouldn't talk about that, but like I remember one day my friend brought it up, and I was just like so excited to talk to her about it, about my faith, because I knew that she didn't come from a family where faith was that prevalent in her life. And I think that's really cool if you have a friend group like that, but I know that a lot of people don't, and that's where I feel like we need to talk about, because not a lot of people have friend groups like that, and I don't know.
So for me, I didn't really become convicted in my faith until like last year. So like right when I went into high school, which is hard in itself, because everyone knows when you go to high school it's hard because it's a whole new, like, it sounds dramatic, but it is very different from all the previous years of schooling. And honestly, like, a lot of my conversations are with people who don't have much faith at all, or like maybe their families are Christian, they go to church on Christmas and Easter, but like they don't really care that much or are interested. And it's sometimes a struggle, like the tone that people ask you things, and you just want to like help them like learn, but it comes with like a lot of teasing and like making fun of, and they're like, oh well, don't you do this, don't you think this, but then you have to be strong in your faith and explain it to them. And sometimes once you actually like, it's in a way sticking up for yourself but also sticking up for God, and you're just like, no, actually this is why I think what I think, and then usually they'll respect you after you do that. And I do have like 2 really close Catholic friends who go to camp with me, and I'm really grateful for them.
Is it dumb?
No. Well, they are my close friends.
Oh, from your house.
From my high school. Shout out Jacob Cole, Caitlin Vergari. I love them both so much.
I love Jacob Cole and Caitlin.
They are G's, and I'm so happy that I have them in my life, because without them it'd be super hard, because even sometimes, even though I have them as friends, you definitely feel isolated a lot of the time, because you want to share your faith, but a lot of the time people don't really want to hear about it, because one thing that Catherine always says, what do you always say, Catherine?
People don't like being told that the way that they live or the things that they do are inherently wrong.
Ooh.
Period!
Yeah, for me, like, I don't know about you guys, but that kind of caused a sense of loneliness when it's like no one else really has the same mindset of me as me, and I have to like go do research to defend my faith.
Yes, exactly.
Which was good in that sense, and also it helped me grow closer to God and cling on God, because He was oftentimes the only consolation I had, because it's like I know that this is the truth, but like no one else like around me believes it, but it's like I have God still.
It's kind of too like another thing that I've always found solace in, especially in high school, is like that idea of that, like, it's gonna be painful when, like, I've lost friends over sharing my faith and stuff like that, and it hurts, it's painful, and it's, no one ever said it was easy, but when God has us on this journey, and He never promised that it's gonna be easy, but He did promise that He's always going to be on it with us.
Yeah.
And so every time we feel that heartache, that pain, that loneliness, we can just remember that Jesus felt that too when He had His friends, His followers turn away from Him, denounce Him.
Like when you get unfollowed.
Yes!
I hate that.
He felt that pain too. And so really, when we're experiencing that suffering and that pain, that's just God bringing us closer into, no pun intended, into His arms. Bringing us closer into Him, and relating to Him on that level of humanity that Jesus felt on His time on earth.
And I think a big thing too is when you're in high school, not for Kira though, because it's exception, but you're making your confirmation and you're going through all these classes. Kira made her confirmation in 2nd grade or 3rd grade.
2nd grade, yeah.
2nd grade when she made her.
Hey, you got the Holy Spirit.
I did.
Lucky duck. And Catherine just made her confirmation this week.
We're so proud of Catherine.
We're filming
today.
So we're all confirmed here, and but I think that's something that's really hard for a lot of high schoolers, is understanding the fact that like when you get confirmed, it's not a graduation from the faith. And I also think that in high school it's hardest, or maybe just like for, I don't know, I feel like it's hard because you have so many different voices when you're in high school, from like social media to your friends to your family to the voice of God. I feel like it's really important to know that like it's taking that next step in becoming an adult in faith, and a lot of people our age, I feel like, struggle with that.
Definitely. Yeah. Another thing that we've talked about before, and it's kind of cheesy, and I wonder if you've been through this also, but like just like simple things of showing your faith, like in clothing. And I know, I remember one time you can like talk about the first time you wore that sweatshirt to school, because I remember we were talking about it during the year. And yeah, you can elaborate in the Christian
too. If you
Have you ever like worn like specific clothes to school that relate to church and people like question you on them or like they say stuff?
Yeah. Well, Catherine, do you want to go first?
Oh, well, yeah. So I actually, from Emily, Christian's sister, I have a sweatshirt that says, I am Franciscan, I am pro-life. And I felt very, very convicted in my heart to wear it to school because I am pro-life and I'm very adamant about that. I'm pretty outspoken about it on social media and stuff like that.
Are you Franciscan?
Yes, I am Franciscan. And so I felt very convicted in my heart to wear that to school, and I was terrified. The first time I wore it to school, I was like, I'm gonna get so many dirty looks. And I was like, even thinking in my head, like, what are my teachers gonna say? Are they gonna comment? And truly, it's more in what people don't say than what they do say, because from that experience, I learned like it's really about, you have to have the confidence first of all to be able to do that, which was like definitely difficult for me. But it was a lot of dirty looks, a lot of people talking behind my back, a lot of stares, and just like people not really feeling comfortable talking to me, which in a sense, at first I was like, oh, this was a mistake, like maybe I shouldn't have done this. But then I was realizing like they get it though. Like now they're at least thinking about it, you know? And even if it's like that lockjaw, that shock at first, at least it's like on their mind, you know, to start a conversation. And I did have a couple people, the first time no one wanted to talk to me about it. The second and third time I wore it to school, I did have people coming up to me and saying like, some of them were more hostile than others. Some people were saying like, why are you wearing that? But I did have a couple conversations, and I was just open and honest, and I was like, I mean, it says it all.
It says it all.
I'm pro-life adamantly, and I'm not afraid to share that. And I think the other thing too is it opens up the conversation more, because at the end of the day, like even if people disagree with that statement, they are at least opening their mind to it, because they can respect that you are sharing that opinion wholeheartly, and you're not just like meekly like mentioning it.
Yeah, like they'll respect you.
Yeah.
If you're just confident and like you're respectful.
Confidence is key.
I like that. Like, I definitely think it's a call to like wear something like that. Like, not everyone should or is called to do that, especially if you're like, you don't know how to defend it, or you just sense that you're gonna like turn people off. Because sometimes you want to like meet people where they're at, but like for me, if someone came up to me and was like, why are you wearing that? I'd be like, bring it on, let's go. Especially if like I know them too, like we're already friends, because you want to have that relationship first with people. That's like the most effective in evangelization. But that's a good way to kind of like, and if they already know that you're Catholic and stuff, and then you wear that, it's like, oh wow, this person's like legit, and it's like people usually respect you if you like you have strong opinions.
Yeah.
I have this shirt it's from Exodus 90. Exodus 90 is a 90-day program of fasting, abstinence, and prayer.
But I didn't ask you.
It's like growing closer to God, and it just has 90 X's on the front, and then on the back it says, ask me.
Now I'm gonna ask
And at
you.
first, it's like, oh, ask me about this. At first, I got the shirt. I didn't wear it for like 2 years. I was like, this is so weird. Like, I really don't want people asking me about this. And that's because like, I just started Exodus. Like, I think I got the shirt before I even did Exodus. So it's like, I don't actually have anything to say about this yet. So I don't want people asking me about it. But then like, after I did Exodus and after I saw like it really affected and helped me, then it's like, if someone asks me about it, it's like, okay, I can talk to them. And it's like a really good conversation starter, and like goes like deeper. So I think it could be good conversation starters, and also just like a good witness.
Yeah. I think
Grace just sighed over.
I think another thing too is like, since then, and And honestly, like if you are the type of person like who like I typically like to think of myself as more fashion oriented. I like to think I'm pretty fashionable.
You are.
Oh, thanks.
You got style.
And so like for me, like I'm an extrovert in case you didn't already know.
Really? In case you couldn't tell.
And so like I express myself in the way that I show myself to the world. And so part of that you can do so much evangelization in in how you act and what you wear. And so it's the idea of like preach the gospel at all times, use words if necessary. So like I have another shirt that just has embroidered in the corner AMDG, which is an acronym that stands for.
It's also our household at Francisco. And they're pretty whack. I wouldn't wear that at Francisco. Do not wear that.
I know. They told me not to.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Hey, I think I should be able to talk.
Okay.
Our side audience wants to know.
So AMDG stands for Ad Maiorum Dei Gloriam, which means all the glory and honor to God.
AMDG.
And so like I've had people ask me before, like, oh, what's AMDG? And I'm like, oh, it's an acronym that means all the glory and honor to God. And then that kind of just like some people will just be like, oh, and other people are like, oh, that's interesting.
Like,
and
what's the worst thing that could happen?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
and so it just makes them, if nothing else, it takes time out of their day that they can spend another minute just thinking about God or reflecting on something related to God. So, Christian, do you have any good tips for like, I guess like evangelizing or even just like having talks with other people like that are young Catholics, like in a high school type environment?
Mm-hmm. My tip would be like just create a relationship first with them before you even like talk about anything like Catholic related. Just like because like people out there are dying to be known, and like especially in public school, like there's people that just like aren't known. They're not known at home. Like they don't have deep relationships with their family, and like most relationships in high school are pretty superficial. It's like people are just joking around. But if you actually just like start asking people questions about themselves and like talk about them, like instead of talking about yourself, just like ask them questions. They'll like start to open up, and then make it known that you are Catholic. Like they should already know that you're Catholic. Like most people should know that you're Catholic just because of the way you live, and like if you wear stuff like that, like they're just gonna start asking you questions about it because. Especially if you're convicted and they're like, that's kind of like weird. Like even if they're just like, you're weird. Like why do you do that? But like, why are you so nice? And like,
Right.
So that relationship first is it's really the best way that I've had, that I've seen, especially in public school.
It's so weird because I'm out of high school now, but it's weird. But in high school, I was kind of like, I was the Catholic girl among my friend group, and like, oh, we can't talk about we can't talk about this in front of Mary. Like, she wouldn't understand, and like,
Especially
but
swearing.
that's like good though. Like that's what I
Yeah.
liked though, because people automatically knew like when I walked into a room, like, oh, like let's like dial it back, which I liked because I was kind of like the police officer, and I was like, but never
Just your presence though. Like,
right.
Yeah,
they
and I
respect it.
really like thinking back, like I liked that about myself, and I liked that my friends felt like they could come to me because I would be open and yeah.
But I don't want. Sorry, can I say this?
Grace, come in the frame.
Come here.
Come in the frame.
Okay, it's like when you.
Come in the frame. We want you.
We're gonna have a quick special
Guest
guest
star.
Special guest.
Grace D'Alessandro, Mary's
The
sister.
problem is, okay, I don't want my friends to feel like they can't say certain things to me or talk with me
This
about
might get
things
edited
that are
out.
going on in their lives.
No, but
I don't
feel
think
like
it's about that necessarily.
I don't think it's fear to talk to you. I think it's more like
Making
they're
them
more
conscious.
conscious of their actions, and that's a good thing because
True.
if they
That
are
is true.
living in a way that they want to stop when they're with you, then that's definitely not how they should.
But you're right, Grace. Like you don't want to be so extreme where
you
they're
don't
like,
wanna,
oh,
like,
this
you don't wanna
person's
scare
crazy
them off.
religious,
You
and
wanna
then
scare
you're just
them
like
off.
stereotyped. Like you don't want to be in that
Exactly.
situation.
And that's another
You're
hard
right.
thing with talking about your like faith, because you don't want other people to assume things about you based on what other people are,
Yeah.
like based on
That
how other
happens
people
to me
act
a
because
lot,
of their
actually.
faith.
People will generalize, and that's kind of something that's like a cross you have to carry. Because like a lot of
Yeah.
people don't like the Catholic Church
Yeah.
and the faith,
And they
And
automatically
they
think
generalize
something.
everything, and at least
They think they know what you think
Yes,
before
yes.
you even say
Yeah.
anything about it.
that happens to me all the time. They'll just say, "But Kira thinks this," and I'll be like, "Well, I mean, yeah, but also I have other."
But then like
thoughts."
it's like, oh, you hate gay people. It's like no, I don't.
No.
No, I don't at
Of course
all.
not.
And it's like then you start to
I
debunk.
love gay people.
You start to debunk it.
I love
We love everybody. Like,
Yeah, we do.
because there's bad Catholics out there, you know? And people probably have had bad experiences
And that's-
with religious people. But
That like
you know,
talks. That's like generalizing people, and that's what like the worst thing. One of the worst things you can do is generalizing a whole group of people, and that's seen in like not even
The
just religion,
easiest to do though.
like everything, any
Anything,
group
yeah.
of people.
And I feel like we generalize a lot too with like as Catholics we become defensive too and automatically
Yeah. We are inherently full of sin because of the fall, and so like everyone has that feeling of like.
I feel like we
defensiveness
generalize
and
people that
stuff
aren't
like that.
Catholic.
And that's why it's so important to just start relationships with people.
yeah,
Exactly.
In
introverts.
public school, in
About-
anywhere. Any non-Catholic
Anywhere.
people. You
Yeah.
just
Yeah, so one of the things I'm always thinking about, and like I try so much to help others and like draw them closer to God, but at the end of the day, I'm not in control of them, and it's hard to accept that. But like you just have to give them as much as you can and push them towards God, but they have to be the ones to actually desire Him.
Open the door.
Yeah,
Yeah.
open the door.
And just let people know that have like that open presence. Like let people know that you're there to talk if they ever feel convicted.
Welcoming.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes.
Okay, thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you check out
Yeah.
Arms of the Father. Thank you, Christian, so much for
Yes.
joining us.
You're welcome. Thanks
Link
for
down below in the description to their channel. We
Yeah.
made a video with Christian, so go check that out.
This video probably will come out before that.
Be on the
So yeah, we're starting this new YouTube channel. This will be the first one we post.
Oh.
This is I hope you enjoyed our first video on our YouTube channel. Subscribe for more content.
Yes.
And
Share with your friends.
And remember,
and share.
God made you special and,
And
He
He
loves you very much. Bye.
Bye.
Clap. Yes, I feel like that's a good outro.
That's hilarious.
We're kind of stealing it.
Okay,
Credit VeggieTales in the description.
Credit VeggieTales.
God bless.